Hey guys, this is WhoaNellyJake, and today I've got for you guys part 2 of Mr. Ulrich and how he's a really weird teacher. If you missed part 1, go to my main channel, because otherwise it probably won't make that much sense. But if you have seen part 1, then you're good to go. So kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but I guess that's just how it worked out. But anyways, today I am sick. I feel a lot better than I did a couple hours ago, but I slept for a long time. So if my voice sounds a little bit weird, it's just because I'm sick. But anyways, I stayed home from school. I actually went to school, but then I just a second. Okay, so anyways, I went to school, and then I went through first period, but then I'm like, alright, I can't do this, and so I had my dad pick me up, and my parents were like, wait a second, and they realized that I hadn't missed school because of being sick in about 5 years, and I'm sure that's over exaggeration. I'm pretty sure I was sick sometime freshman year, and I missed a day. But yeah, so I just don't really stay home from school when I'm sick. I really do not play that sick card. There are people who actually are the slightest bit a tiny little cold, and they say that they're sick and they're able to go home, and I don't do that. I don't know, I guess I didn't want to miss school because I'm a huge procrastinator, and I get good grades, but it just takes me forever to do stuff. So missing a day of school, a couple years ago, last year even, would have just tore me apart, because then it would have been twice the work to do. But this year I'm getting much better at it. I know how to do work that still provides a good grade, but it just doesn't take me near as long to do it, which is awesome. And that also is just because my classes for some reason this year are easier than last year. I'm a sophomore, by the way. Freshman year was harder for some reason, but anyways, so Mr. Ulrich, this kid is bonkers. I mean, not this kid. He acts like a kid, but unfortunately he's not. He's a grown man, complete adult, 100% grown up. He's like a kid trapped in a old man's body. But yeah, he looks like I probably said in part 1. He looks crazy. That's almost I'd say about 30% of why he's my #1 weirdest teacher is just how he looks. Just to be completely honest, that actually sounds really mean now that I think about it. But yeah, it's actually just how he looks. He, like I mentioned in part 1, if you guys are still watching this and you did not go back to part 1, he looks exactly like the troll face. The wrinkles, the big, creepy, grinning smile, and the dimples and everything. So yeah, that's Mr. Ulrich, and that is because he actually, the year that I had him freshman year, that summer, he got back from drug rehab, because of heroin. So yeah, you can imagine just how messed up his brain was and how strange he looked. He's just a funny, very interesting old man. Actually, now I think about it, he didn't even have any gray hairs. I think he just looked really old because he was so messed up by the heroin that he shot up all the time. But he probably would, I'd say, in his 40s or 50s. But anyways, he wasn't an old man, but he was getting there. So I don't really remember his class that well, in chronological order, so I'm just gonna say random stuff that come to my mind as we go, and because, I don't know, I think it would just make it more natural and stuff too. Anyways, so there was an assignment that we had that was called Northwest Foods, and the big joke was that he'd be like, well, if it's made in the Northwest, then it's a Northwest Foods. And that's how he got away with letting a bunch of his students just bring a bunch of food every year into his classroom as an assignment. he got away with it because, you know, he said it was a specific culture and type of food, which it really wasn't. It was any food that you could think of, you could have made, but because you made it in the Northwest, it's Northwest food. So yeah, that was his little joke that he thought it was funny, and we're all like, okay, whatever, Mr. Orc, you're a crazy clown. But yeah, I made cookies, chocolate chip cookies. Nothing. It doesn't sound like nothing special, and I'm sure it's not the best cookies because now they realize that everyone's like, oh, my mom's cookies are the best, and then you're always in your head like, no, mine are. But that's what I brought. I don't even know. They're really good. And some people went hardcore, went all out, and made the food that morning before school, so it'd be the most fresh. And I had to do that because the more fresh these cookies were, the better they'd be. So yeah, there were foods that people brought anywhere from like pineapple or mango empanadas to like dense, really good Oreo brownie balls, which that actually doesn't sound very good. Now you add like brownie balls into the name, but anyways, it was really good. Yeah, so it was like the best part of the class was that like about 2-month period where every Friday we'd have a couple people that shared their food at the end of the class, and we just got to eat a bunch of food. You know, maybe one Friday I'd get some chips and salsa, some really good snickerdoodle cookies, or whatever, like the sugar and cinnamon, and then maybe some weird, some hearty, I don't even know what do you call it? Enemy spotted. Comfort food. Yeah, something like that. So it's just like, it was just completely random. Whatever people brought, that's what we ate, and you just had to have a little presentation, talk about how you made it, and like the story behind it, because it had to have been like a recipe passed down kind of like in your family, and it couldn't have been store-bought or anything, so you had like this little presentation. But anyways, Mr. Ulrich probably did that just because he liked eating all of her food. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell very many stories about Mr. Ulrich because it was a lot of just little things. For instance, I guess like one time, there was this girl that was whining in the middle of class, like out loud so everyone can hear it. Everyone has that person in one of their classes at some point in their life that is like, they think they're like on top of the world, and they're able to share with everybody that they just broke a nail or something, and they're whining about it. So Mr. Ulrich's like, boo-hoo, and he just goes, or I don't know, like he curls his finger into his side of his like mouth and goes like, and I don't know how to make the noise, but it's like a noise, and then he goes and he was just making fun of her and how she's whining, and it's supposed to sound like a baby being born and then whining. But anyways, yeah, that was absolutely hilarious. I don't really know how to describe it any better than that. If you were just there in the moment, it was absolutely hilarious. I'd say the whole time, one of the biggest things about Mr. Ulrich was just how awkward it was to do one-on-one conversations with this man, because he never gave you a straight answer. You'd ask, oh, is the, current events sheet due tomorrow, or was it Friday? And he'd just give you his classic Mr. Ulrich grin for about 20 seconds, and you know you're like up in the front of the class, just up in front of everyone, and everyone who's looking up and aren't doing their work are just watching you, and it's just like, what the heck is, like, is he, I think he actually was a troll. I think that was his intention in life, but he like never gave you a straight answer. He'd make everything complicated for absolutely no reason. So I'd ask him like something like that, and he'd be like, you have 3 answers, yes, no, and maybe. And then I'd like, he'd just stare at you until you figured
Securing
out
B.
the answer for yourself and just kind of guessed it,
Be
and then he
advised,
just
hostile
laughed and
UAV
smiled
incoming.
and then walked away.
Enemy
So he
down.
never gave you any straight answers. He was just a crazy guy. Oh my Lanta, this commentary is already over. I might end up making part 3, but that might all, that might be all that you get. But yeah, I probably will because I want to share some more stuff. So yeah, peace out, guys.